Yes, 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 yes. We are live. We are live. This is Vice Versa Live. Woo, how is everyone doing? At the moment, there doesn't appear to be anyone here at this stage, but that's all good. That's all good. I was going to wait for a few moments to see how many people do come. And if anyone does come, fantastic. We've got one person in already. That's amazing. So it's good to see people. Yes, yes, my bro. Peter, how you doing? Fantastic to see you. Great. All right. Just wait to see if there's anyone else that's gonna come in. See how we can get this thing, and then we can get moving and get moving. All right. All right. Probably wait another. Yes, blessings. Just wait another maybe like 10, 20 seconds before we just like people start flowing in. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, my G. Alrighty. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's not wait. So yes, welcome. This is Vice Versa Live. My name is Simon. I am the host and founder of Vice Versa Talent, which is a talent bespoke acquisition company that focuses on bridging the gap between the working world and Gen Z, which is the under 25s. However, the advice and tips that I will be giving will be for everybody. It's not, you know, exclusive to one group. It's for everybody, and for everything that's happening within the world. You know, I think that the advice and tips I will be giving and sharing will be of great value to a lot of people. So, last week, I was really talking and discussing about how you can really go from currently where you are to your destination. And now I want to move on to how you actually approach finding work on a day-to-day process. Um, so this is what I call my 5 tips on actually how to find work. And these are like the 5 steps that I was genuinely using, when I was, applying for work. This is what I would use. So my first one is, and I did actually a cool feature that I added so I can do that, is number one is get ready. Now, get ready. What does that actually mean? Get ready is a place where you focus above anything else, you focus on you yourself. So last week I was really going in detail in, yourself, your strengths and, your mindset. This is again tackling that thing. So, before you want to even try and, apply for work and all those kind of things, we need to first deal with the mind, because the mind is the thing that's going to either get you to that place of success or not. And how I did that was I would exercise. Exercise is a good way to, get those endorphins going and get you pumped. And I would always approach work, approach finding work in a way that I would do as if I'm going to, I don't know, compete as such. So, you know, I would always feel like when I'm applying for work, I'm on the hunt. I'm out to go and get something. I feel like when you start to look at trying to find work as a way of like I'm on the hunt to go and get something, I genuinely believe your results are going to change. Because if you're like, oh well, yeah, I need to go and find work and I just need to go and find a job, it's not that same that same energy that you want to put out there. You want to be like, no, I'm gonna go and find work, and that is really gonna drive you to, go above and beyond, but also really push through the pain barriers, because you're gonna get them. And that's just, one side. Another side of me getting ready was affirmations. Now, a lot of people may have, different ideas on what is an affirmation. Now, we all have, okay, this is a bit tricky, but we all have, ourselves in our conscious mind, and then we have the other things in our mind that generally like to talk to us. So these are thoughts, and generally negative thoughts, that we can have about ourselves, like, oh, you're not good enough, or what you're doing, or maybe, or it may not be that. It could be like, you're tired, you should rest, you should stay in, and all those kind of things that will deter you from what you know you need to do. Now, with writing an affirmation, what that does is that allows you to just affirm. What it allows you to do is affirm yourself when, I guess, at that time when you're not feeling as, as optimistic or as driven as you could be. So it could be as simple as, I am phenomenal, or I am valuable, or I am successful, or it could be, I'm not tired. It could be the reverse of the common thing that you constantly, not constantly, but you could feel at the time. So I always like to, speak things, because I'm a firm believer that you can speak things into existence. And if you are looking for a job and you are serious about looking for a job, then you want to be able to speak things into existence, but also you want to be able to speak how you want your mind to be into what it should be, so that you can be as effective and as productive as possible. So speak those things, speak the positive things, and you will see the results afterwards. And that's generally how I would go about getting ready for war, getting ready for battle, getting ready for the hunt. So the next thing is focus on your goal. Now, what exactly does that mean? When it comes to applying, it's very, very easy to start going, okay, I'm going to apply for this role, apply for that role, apply for this role, apply for that role. It's like everything can really, 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 really get out of hand quite quickly. And I think it's very, very important that you go into, applying for work in a very organized way. So it could be, for example, you're applying for a BDM role. So you will, spend time focusing, or, you'll be going to a particular website that focuses on sales roles. If you're focusing on, maybe in a fitness area, then you'll spend time focusing on that. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to optimize your time and not really be messing around going between the two. Because generally what happens is that, over a period of time of going through these applications, the quality will start to dip, and you don't want to burn yourself out so quickly. So I feel it's very important that you focus on your goal and where you want to be. Also, just a quick analogy just to support that, if you're going on a road trip, or you're going somewhere, that you've never driven to, you would want to, you would want to have a plan exactly on how you're going to get to that destination. So you wouldn't just, you're driving outside of London, and you're just going to your car and just be like, well, I'm just going to put it in a sat nav and just find out where I'm going to go on the day. You're going to plan ahead. So, and that plan is the goal, so you want to plan your journey, you want to plan. And once you're able to do the plan, then you're able to get your mind right, get ready to then focus on that plan and on that goal there. Now, the next thing, once you've covered those two areas, the next thing I feel is really this one, which ties into focus on your goal. It's a bit of a, they do kind of combine, but I would say plan your time. I think one of the best things about applying for work is you can move around time to accommodate kind of where you are, but you need to plan your time. It's very important. You know, looking for a job is a job in itself. Like it's a lot. It's not something that you can just do for 2 hours or 3 hours. It's got to be something that you can do consistently with a good focused time, because you don't want to just be trying to apply for a job for 12 hours or, you know, or 2 hours, because 12 hours is too much. Because if anyone tells me, oh, you know, Simon, I've been applying for work for 12 hours, I'll be questioning the quality of those applications, because doing 12 hours of application is not productive. You want to spend a good at least 8 hours of like solid hunting. And obviously you can split it up. You can do 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening, or 4.5 in the morning, 4.5 in the evening. And, you know, that's the best way on how you want to, you know, plan your time. And, you know, you can cater it towards yourself. This is kind of just how I would do it, but obviously you can cater it towards yourself and towards, you know, your other goals and other commitments that you have. So planning your time is the most important thing, because you want to optimize. You want to get the best out of your time and out of your hunting, you know, sessions. And it ties into my fourth point. My fourth point is this one. Now, this one I feel is, a lot of people don't talk about this one, and that is quality over quantity. Now, so many people will be like, oh, you know, they want to bang out the CVs. They want to get CVs out, CVs out, CVs out, CVs out. And they want to go through applications. I can assure you, if any one of you guys is doing that, you're not going to get the results that you want. You know, what you want to do for every CV, for every application, you want to cater it towards that actual job. You know, I'm going to go into more of those things in, you know, later sessions, but you want to cater, you know, whatever the application is, whatever the job is, you want to put all of your time into that one thing and really see what it is that they want, and then tie that in towards, you know, what it is that you have to offer, and then, you know, put it back to them. But that stuff takes time, you know, churning out CVs and sending it, excuse me, you know, and going through applications and rushing through things, they're not going to breed you results, because a lot of the application processes, once it's received by the recruiter or the hiring manager, it's just going through, you know, it's going through an algorithm. And, you know, if it doesn't have the standard, or if it doesn't have the keywords that it's looking for, you ain't getting through that first stage. So in order for you to get past that first stage, in order for you to beat the algorithm, you are going to need to put all of yourself into it, and that's going to take time. But with time comes quality, and with quality you can guarantee results, and that's, you know, that's what you want. So really do take your time. I would also say, with that, tying it into the third point, which is plan your time, is you should try and see, like, okay, I'm gonna apply for maybe 10, maybe 5 to, maybe not 10, maybe let's say 5 to 8 jobs a day. That's probably a good way to do it. You know, spend an hour on an application a day, I think is very good. Not unless it's an online application, which is obviously going to take you a bit more time. But if it's just handing a CV, then I would say you want to put maybe 5 to 8, and that's really good quality stuff. And I can assure you that you will be hearing from the hiring manager. And that was the fourth point. Now, the last point that I wanted to add on to that is this one. And this is another important one. And I think a lot of people don't do, but they really should do. And I'll explain to you why. So once you've done that, you know, once you've gotten ready, you've focused on the goal, you know, you've used your time, and you've planned out how you're going to do it. You know, you have, you know, got that quality over the quantity. And this one is I think this one is so important, because this one allows you to go back into that application that you sent, and that is to keep a record of your applications. Now, a lot of people may be like, oh, you know, why do you need to keep a record of that? And the reason being is that, you know, it's so easy for you to go and apply for loads of different jobs, and, you know, you could lose track of them. But keeping a track of the applications that you submit will allow you to go back in to, you know, the hiring manager or the job, and allow you to go and seek, you know, what's the outcome of the application that you sent, you know, and get the feedback, you know, because those two things are very, very important, because it's very easy to just go through the same motion, because it can just be a thing where it's like, okay, but I didn't get that job. Okay, cool. And then you just carry on going. But if you don't really necessarily get any feedback, and you don't have a person who, you know, who you can bounce ideas off about, you know, your CVs and application processing, you're probably making the same mistake over and over again. So, you know, the number one benefit would be you're getting feedback. So that's really good. Another one is, especially if it's a recruiter, if you go back in to find out, generally they may have other roles that could be of a better suit for you. So if you went in for a role and it didn't happen, 9 times out of 10, if you've built that relationship up with the recruiter, generally they can be like, well, I can see what other else is on, you know, is on my on a list of jobs to fill, or I can go around the office and see what is on someone else's list. And obviously that's going to work to your benefit. So again, this thing, keeping a track of your applications, is very, very good way of, you know, multiplying, you know, your chances of actually getting a job, and also receiving feedback that's gonna be of great use to you. So those are my 5 tips, and I hope that they have really helped. You know, I just, as always, like to open up the floor, as you know, I'm here to help and to really encourage people who are on the hunt. So, you know, if you do have any questions, then I would love to hear from you, regarding jobs, CVs, applications. If in doubt you need any help, then you can pick my brain and I'll be able to give that back to you. So fire away. Let me know. All righty. All right. Okay. All right. Let me just check. All right. So I've got one question. So a person asked me, what is the best way to maximize an interview? So the best way to do that, when you're, especially in the interview process, is you generally want to have a okay, great. Thanks, guys. So let me just ask the interview question. So when it comes to interview, what you want to do is you want to have questions, really good questions that we're going to cultivate a conversation. You know, with an interviewer, they always want to have an interview, but for you, you always want to try and have a conversation, because I feel like if you go into an interview and it becomes interviewee, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna I don't feel like you've got the job. I feel like when you draw it towards having a conversation and you start like talking about like the company and what the company's going to offer, and then you want to talk about some of your experience, but you want to make it, you know, conversationally, it's going to change the dynamic of the kind of conversations you're having. And I think that's really going to work in your favor. So I think that's the best way. And obviously that's going to take time, that's going to take practice, but the more confident that you are in going to interviews, and, you know, they can be nerve-wracking, but it's just about thinking it's another person on the other side of the table, and I just want to have a conversation about my experiences, but also what it is that they're trying to achieve. So you want to have that back and forth going, and that would really help. We have another question. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one, Peter. Job boards or direct contact with LinkedIn. Now, I genuinely feel that the best way to find work is by LinkedIn. The reason being is because with job boards, it's more like I can say it's like almost like a vacuum. So it's just consuming loads and loads and loads and loads of like posts, and then they just have to filter it out. Whereas I feel like if you're going to LinkedIn, they'll have access to your profile, so they can see you, they can see what you're up to, they can, they can have a better idea of who you are. It also has your experience there, like a CV, but most importantly, you're speaking to somebody directly who's in charge. So that person who is on LinkedIn that's posting it is either the recruiter that is in direct contact with the hiring manager, or it's the hiring manager exclusively, available to you. And that's phenomenal, because then you're speaking to somebody directly. That means that you're in a position to connect and influence, their decision to look your way. So I would ultimately say LinkedIn above anything. But then, of course, you want to support your job search with the job boards, because they're also very, very good. And I'm going to be doing sessions over the next coming weeks, looking at LinkedIn, Azuna, Indeed, Total Jobs, all of those big ones, really showing you how you can go about doing it. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to be able to show you exactly how to really optimize using these platforms, so that you can get the most out of those platforms and get into work. Okay, how do you deal with not getting any response from your applications? Yeah, no, that's a really good one, Chris. That's a really good one. How do you deal with that? To be honest with you, it is quite it can be quite frustrating, especially when I've mentioned the whole part of putting quality over quantity, and you've planned out time to do your application. I think the first thing is to just recognize that these things do happen. I think that's very important, and not to take it personally. And then afterwards, try and see how you can find out who that person is. Whether that's going on LinkedIn, because generally, if you can't find the person, if you've applied for it through a job board or through another way, if you go on LinkedIn and you search the company, you could probably find that person who's in charge, and you can message them directly. Like I mentioned above, or just here right now, it says keep a track record of your applications. That's a good way of getting back in there and putting yourself forward, because that person may be like, they may have forgotten, or something's happened, and it's a good way of them looking back onto your profile as well. Another good thing that I haven't highlighted, but I will highlight in more detail when I go through LinkedIn, is a lot of people don't know, but with recruiters and talent managers, hiring managers, they always do a Google search on the people who they're looking to hire. So what's really good about having LinkedIn is it's obviously a professional setting. So if you only have an Instagram and it's open, and it may have some pictures there that may not be as pleasing, then it may be to your detriment. So obviously be mindful of those things, because people do go and look for you. I had this situation where, when I was working for the business intelligence company, I had pitched a CEO about using some of our digital marketing solutions. And obviously I sent over him a pitch. I sent him what it is that we offer and how much it costs. I then went into my LinkedIn, and then I saw that the CEO had searched for me on LinkedIn, and I was like, wow, that's kind of odd. But you know, if he, the CEO, is doing that, how much more is, you know, the hiring managers and recruiters doing that? So, you know, I just want to put that out there so you guys are mindful of those things, and you know how you can really shape yourself up to win, shall we say, which is obviously what you want to do. Are there any other questions? All righty. All righty. Okay. I've got one more question. And that is, how do you handle rejection? Okay. And that's kind of quite similar to Chris's one. But the best way to handle rejection, I feel, and how I've always done it is I think when you're applying for anything, I think you're ultimately wrestling with the fact that you may not get it. And I always like to work with the worst case scenario. You know, I think obviously you have to be self-aware on who you are as a person, and you know, certain people can deal with rejection better than others, of course, but you want to be able to recognize that yes, rejection can happen, but you also really want to focus on, okay, but I did that, but what did I learn? And I think that's a very good way of dealing with rejection. What did I learn? Because when you ask that question, you move away from, oh my goodness, I'm not that great, and oh man, I messed up, and all these other negative feelings, to moving to a positive feeling, to be like, okay, but if I get all of these things, then it's going to be like, I'm going to be that much better. And I think that's what you really want to focus on. You want to focus on is, how can I be better? How can I be better than I was, you know, before I went in this interview, or before I did this application? So focus on the positives. I think that's what I'm drawing to. Focus on the positive, focus on how to be better. And once you do that, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to be like a train, just boom, boom. And that's what you want. You want to be able to just coast through things, let things bounce off, but let things bounce off of you. The things that you don't need, but the things that you do need, the feedback, you know, like inhale that, and then just like embody that and encapsulate it, and then, you know, level up from there. And that's exactly what I would say. Yes, thank you so much, guys. Who, you know, the guys who came in, you know, Tufi, Mike, you know, thank you guys for coming. Chris, Peter, Jay, thank you all for coming. And anyone else who hasn't posted in it, thank you so much for coming. You know, if there is any other questions that you may have, please let me know. And if not, then I will be drawing this to a close for today. But I am going to be back here next week. I think I will be discussing LinkedIn and how you can navigate it. I'll be sharing my screen while I'm talking to you guys, so that you guys get a good understanding of how I use LinkedIn, and how I think everyone should be using LinkedIn, and how you can scale from using LinkedIn into success. All right. Well, do take care. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.